As the Green Bay Packers kick off their OTAs this week, the buzz is palpable, not just from the excitement of a new season, but also from the speculation surrounding potential roster moves. It's a pivotal time for the team, as the 90-man roster they've brought to the field now will likely shape what we see when training camp opens in just a couple of months. But here's the kicker. This roster is anything but set in stone. It's a time for opportunity, and as history has shown, General Manager Brian Gutekunst is not shy about making changes. Fans, where are you watching from today? I want to hear your thoughts on how you think the Packers are shaping up for the upcoming season. Let's dive into the specifics, because the Packers have some key needs that could dictate their performance as they move forward. Last year, we saw the impact of Gutekunst's strategic moves when he traded for Darian Kinnard and Micah Parsons right before the season kicked off. Those trades were not only bold, but necessary to address glaring holes in the roster. Looking ahead, this year's squad also has some pressing concerns that need to be addressed, and we're here to break down the 5 positions that stand out as critical areas for growth or significant additions. Starting off with the offensive line, the Packers seem to be in decent shape with their tackles. Jordan Morgan stepping in at left tackle and Zach Tom returning on the right side gives us a foundation that could work if everything clicks. But let's be real, this is a projection, and projections can be risky business. Sure, Tom played just over half of the offensive snaps last season, which raises questions about his endurance and readiness. The depth behind these starters is a bit precarious, typical of many teams in the league, but it's a concern nonetheless. With Kinnard, we at least have a competent backup for Tom, but should Morgan get injured, we're looking at Brant Banks, an undrafted free agent from last year, as the next man up at left tackle. That's a gamble that could easily backfire. Now let's shift gears to the wide receiver core. The Packers' decision to trade Dontavian Wicks to the Eagles for a 6th-round pick speaks volumes about their confidence in the current roster. If they were genuinely worried about receiver depth, that trade would never have happened. With Wicks and Romeo due out of the equation, the Packers are rolling with Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and Matthew Golden as their starting trio. Now, if you take a moment to look at the numbers from these three, they combine for a mere 134 receptions, 1,838 yards, and 15 touchdowns. To put that into perspective, last season, Puka Nacua from the Rams had 129 catches all by himself. Jackson Smith-Njigba from the Seahawks racked up 1,793 yards, and let's not forget Devontae Adams, who managed 14 touchdowns last season on his own. The comparisons are stark, and they highlight the need for these young receivers to step up significantly. As we look ahead, it's imperative for the Packers to cultivate this talent and ensure that the offensive strategy can evolve with its players. The potential is there, but potential alone doesn't win games. The Packers need to see substantial development from Watson, Reed, and Golden if they want to avoid being outperformed by the competition. With OTAs well underway, the clock is ticking for the Packers. They have the opportunity to solidify their roster and fill in the gaps that could make or break their season. The next moves will be critical, and fans are on the edge of their seats, waiting to see how Gutekunst will navigate these waters. Now, as we transition into our next segment, we must consider the defensive side of the ball. What adjustments are on the horizon for a unit that has had its share of ups and downs? Stay tuned because things are about to get interesting. The Green Bay Packers are facing a significant challenge as they look to bolster their pass rush ahead of the new season. With Micah Parsons potentially sidelined for the opening stretch, including the first 4 games if he lands on the physically unable to perform list, the Packers' defensive front looks alarmingly thin. The departure of Rashawn Gary to the Cowboys and Kingsley Enagbare signing with the Jets leaves the Packers with edge rushers who collectively managed only 4 sacks last season. This is not just an issue of numbers. It's a fundamental flaw that could severely hinder the effectiveness of the defense. While it's true the Packers won't immediately face any elite quarterbacks, any NFL starter with time in the pocket can exploit defensive weaknesses. The question is whether General Manager Brian Gutekunst will take the conservative route, banking on the young players he's brought in to step up, or if he'll make a bold move, reminiscent of last year's stunning trade for Parsons. One name that is generating buzz is Josh Sweat of the Arizona Cardinals. The connection is clear. New Packers defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon previously worked with Sweat in Philadelphia, where Sweat thrived, racking up 7.5 sacks in 2021 and an impressive 12 sacks last season, making him a Pro Bowl selection. The familiarity between player and coach could be a game-changer for the Packers as they look to address their pass rush woes. Reports indicate that the Cardinals have received inquiries about Sweat, which only heightens the intrigue. His contract situation, while complicated, with $38 million guaranteed, might not deter the Packers. From their perspective, Sweat's cap charges of $10.88 million in 2026 and $18.1 million in subsequent years could be manageable, especially if they view him as a one-year rental. Given the context, a potential trade could be relatively inexpensive. Some executives believe a fifth-round pick may suffice due to Sweat's age and salary. However, there's a caveat. While Sweat is undoubtedly a more accomplished pass rusher than any of the Packers' current edge defenders, skepticism remains. Some insiders question his long-term viability, suggesting he's on the decline at 29 and may require careful management due to knee issues. Still, the data speaks volumes. Among 100 edge defenders with significant pass rushing opportunities last season, Sweat ranked 26th in pass rush win rate and 23rd in pass rushing productivity. Moreover, his experience and success could provide the Packers with a spark they desperately need to not just survive, but thrive in the absence of Parsons. Gannon himself has noted Sweat's ability to impact the game, which is precisely what Green Bay needs right now. As fans, we have to weigh the potential benefits against the risks. Would you welcome a deal for Sweat, or are you more inclined to see what the young talent can bring? Where are you watching from, and what do you think about this possible move? The Packers are at a crossroads, and how they choose to address this glaring need could define their chances in the upcoming season. Now, let's transition into another critical aspect of the team's dynamics that could shape their future.
As we dive deeper into the current state of the Green Bay Packers, one pressing question looms large. What will the Packers do to shore up their edge defender position? With the recent draft of Dani Dennis-Sutton in the 4th round, the team is clearly looking to bolster their defense. But the loss of key players like Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Enagbare earlier this offseason has left a significant void. Now, with Micah Parsons sidelined for the initial games of the season, the uncertainty surrounding this position is palpable. Fans, where are you watching from today? I want to hear your thoughts on this critical issue. Will the Packers go after a veteran presence to fill the gap, or will they trust in the development of their younger talent? Comment below with your opinions. Head coach Matt LaFleur has kept the door ajar on both scenarios, stating, "I think there's always opportunities to add, but everything just has got to line up right." This statement is illuminating, hinting at the Packers' potential moves while also emphasizing the careful consideration that is necessary when it comes to roster decisions. Let's take a moment to analyze the young players currently in the fold. The Packers drafted 2 edge defenders last year, Barron Sorrell and Colin Oliver, and added Dennis-Sutton this year. Although Oliver is currently sidelined with rehab, Sorrell has emerged as the initial starter opposite Lucas Van Ness. LaFleur expressed optimism, saying, "Those guys are working hard and we're early in the process. But I like what I've seen from some of the guys." This gives fans a glimmer of hope that one of these young defenders can step up and perform at a high level, which is crucial for both the immediate and long-term health of the franchise. Sorrell, in particular, has shown early indications that he could be the breakout player the Packers desperately need. The depth chart also features Brenton Cox Jr., Aaron Mosby, undrafted rookie Nigella Kelly, and Dante Barnett, who's part of the International Pathway Program. While the youth movement is promising, the question remains, can these young defenders handle the pressure of the NFL? The market for edge defenders is currently filled with veterans who could be signed at a reasonable cost, even at this late stage of the offseason. High-profile names like Jadeveon Clowney, Joey Bosa, AJ Epineza, Hasten Reddick, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, and Cam Jordan are still available and could potentially make a significant impact on the field. However, the caveat here is that any veteran player signed before Week 1 has their base salary fully guaranteed for the entire season. This complicates the situation, as the Packers will need to ensure that any addition could not only fill the gap while Parsons is out, but also transition into a rotational role once he returns. The delicate balancing act exists here, and it's one that the Packers may choose to bypass if the young players show impressive growth throughout the offseason program and training camp. The stakes are high, and the decisions made in the coming weeks could very well dictate the trajectory of the Packers season. In closing, the edge defender position is a pivotal issue for Green Bay as they prepare for the upcoming season. With the possibility of either developing young talent or signing a veteran, the choices ahead will weigh heavily on the coaching staff and impact the team's performance. As we watch this situation unfold, it's crucial for fans to stay engaged. Subscribe to stay updated on all things Packers and share your thoughts on how the team should navigate this challenge. Your insights are invaluable, So let's keep the conversation going.